Silverthorne, and I was 35 years old when I boarded the Titanic.
My name is Rosalie Ida Stress. I am 63 years old.
My name is Lucian P. Smith.
My name is Madeline Talamank Astor Forrest.
My name is Harry Elkins Widener, age 27.
Martha Stephenson, but my maiden name is Martha Estes.
My name is Mr. James Johnson. I am 41 years old.
Miss Violet Constance Jessup, and I'm 24 years old.
I'm Joseph Bruce Ismay, and I was 49 years old when I boarded the Titanic.
My name is Miss Violet Constance Jessup. I am 24 years old.
My name is Reginald Robinson Lee.
I am Frederick Fleet, the Titanic's lookout.
Miss Violet Constance Jessup.
Lady Duff Gordon.
Mr. Henry George Cowell.
I am Marguerite Frolcher, and I am 22 years old.
I'm Edward J. Smith at 62 years old.
My name is James Johnston. I am 41 years old.
My name is Sylvia May Hardbarg, and I am 28 years old.
My name is Mr. Frederick Barrett, and I'm 28 years old.
My name is Stanley Lord. I'm 34.
My name is Miss Mary Eloise Hughes Smith, and I am 18 years, 8 days, and 8 months old.
I was the captain of the Titanic.
I was the lookout for the Titanic.
My job is to collect rare books like Shakespeare Follow or the Gutenberg Bible, or you can call me a bibliophile.
My occupation is to be a wife and a mother, too, because I'm pregnant with my baby Sapphire.
I was a buyer for the Nugent department.
I'm a stewardess and a nurse.
I worked at the coal industry.
My job was really to be a wife of 3 kids, George, Martha, Helen, and a wife of Walt Bertram Stephenson.
Captain, crew member / ship officer.
My husband was heavily involved in the business. His father created a company, and he is the owner of Macy's.
I was on the lookout crew. I was partnered with Frederick Fleet from the lookout crew.
Me and my husband, we are missionaries.
I'm a leading fireman on the Titanic.
I am a stewardess and a nurse.
Be a mother and a wife to my husband.
I'm a wife to my husband, Mr. John Jacob Astor.
My job is I'm a steward. I would bring people food and anything else they may need.
Stewardess on the crew.
I was a dressmaker.
I was on first class.
I was a first-class passenger.
I was in first class, and my family was in cabin C80 to C82.
I was first class. I was boarded with my husband and my maid and a manservant.
I wasn't in a class. I was part of the engine crew.
I was first or rich class.
I was a first-class passenger, and my cabin number was E24.
After my father's death, I attended school until my mom got ill, and then worked as a stewardess on ocean liners to help support the family.
We were going to Banksville, Illinois. There was no other boat to take.
I was the ship owner, and I wanted to go along on the main voyage.
I was aboard the Titanic because I got a job.
I was on a honeymoon with Mary Louise Smith, and we were taking a cruise.
My sister, Elizabeth Estes, and we were meeting my husband and my children in Massachusetts.
We were going to go back home to New York, because we just went to Britain to bring Macy's to Europe.
I was coming home from when I was in England buying books.
As me and my husband just got back from our honeymoon in Egypt and Paris.
I'm aboard the Titanic because I'm a fireman.
I was accompanying my father on a business trip and also to go to New York to marry my husband.
I was aboard the Titanic because I was on my way to my honeymoon.
I was still patrolling in the crow's nest. It was a cold night and it was clear. And all you could see was the stars. Well, I didn't spot the iceberg. I spotted the absence of stars. So I rang 3 bells, which means iceberg dead ahead. And then I used the phone to call down to the bridge. And immediately someone answered. and they just said, "What did you see?" And I said, "Iceberg that straight ahead." And they said, "Okay, thank you," and hung up.
I was in the bridge and I knew I messed up.
My husband and I, we were currently asleep, but then we felt a jolt and we scurried up to the deck with our maid and manservant.
When the iceberg hit, I was in my bed sleeping until one of my colleagues called and said the Titanic was sinking.
I was on the deck.
I was on the lookout in a crow's nest.
Well, I was sleeping when I heard a horrible noise, like a giant finger scraping against the port side of the Titanic.
I was in the still cold on the 8 to 12 watch. I saw third-class passengers running through the alleyway and heard them yelling, "We've struck an iceberg."
I was actually in my cabin, asleep.
I was playing a game of bridge.
I was asleep.
I was in boiler room number 6.
I was in my suite of rooms with my husband, our private nurse, and our maid and our manservant.
I was in my deluxe suite on B deck.
I was asleep when the Titanic hit the iceberg.
I remember when the water had rushed into boiler room number 6, it had went 2 feet over the plates that I was standing on to shovel coal into the boiler, and I had to jump through the door to get into boiler room number 5.
Scared, I didn't think I was gonna make it. The boat had ripped in half. I didn't think we were all gonna make it after that.
I greatly remember after I decided to stay with my husband, you grabbed a pair of deck chairs and I said I love you, and after I started sobbing and struggling to swim, it was heartbreaking to see his face.
I remember that it was really loud and it was very hard to get onto a lifeboat.
I remember kissing my husband on his left cheek and hugging him very tightly before he helped me on the lifeboat floor. Once we got on the lifeboat, we both yelled, "I loved you," and waved goodbye.
Seeing the ship approaching me from a few miles out, and then I remember seeing the lights go out, and I thought that was perfectly fine, because that's normally what's happened at the time of when it happened. They turn off the lights so people go to sleep.
I remember from the disaster that it was hard for third-class passengers to get out.
The boat going down and it was sinking. I remember watching that while I was complaining about my night dresses because I left them on the Titanic when it sunk.
A ship's officer ordered all stewardess into the lifeboat 16.
When I went in the lifeboat, someone told me to hang on to the baby. That I didn't know whose baby it was, so I didn't want to take it, but I did.
They step away from a lifeboat, and then I remembered I forgot a book called Bacon Aces and ran back to go get it.
I couldn't bear to see the Titanic sink, so I turned my back on it.
I almost died while traveling to a lifeboat with my pajamas on. It was very cold, and my muscles were getting very numb. Yes, I was able to survive the disaster.
Yes, I did.
No, I did not survive the disaster. I decided to stay with my husband so we could go down with the ship together, and I stated, I have lived with you for many years. Where you go, I go.
Yes, I jumped into collapsible lifeboat C, one of the last.
Yes, along with my husband and my son.
I was rescued by lifeboat 5. I did not survive the disaster.
Yes, I survived on lifeboat 5.
I was one of the first men to get off in boat 13.
Yes, I survived the Titanic and I survived lighter ships.
No, I did not. I went down with my ship like every captain should.
Yes, I did survive the Titanic disaster. Other survivors and I on Lifeboat 4 were rescued and taken aboard the Carpathia, and all the crew of the Carpathia were able to save 750 people from the Titanic disaster.
It made me feel sad about all the people that it killed. It made me feel mad about the person who designed the ship, because
I would not want to go on a ship ever again, and that it was terrifying hearing all hearing and seeing the Titanic break and hearing the people dying in the water.
Yes, people wouldn't do business with me, so I had to sell.
About 4 months after the disaster, I gave birth to my son, John Jacob Astor, named after the father he would never know.
Not that much because my parents survived and so did I.
Made me like a little bit braver because like I survived and all that.
It didn't really impact my life because I had started on the Olympic right after that, which was 2 weeks after.
I did to the White Star Line and got $1,739.75.
Yes, I felt very bad that I wasn't able to come to the rescue of the Titanic.
I had to leave a very special person in my life behind, and his name was Mr. Lucian Philip Smith. And he was my husband.
The disaster really scared me. I no longer worked on ships.
Yes, it did. I still think about it every time in my head about all the people that died in the tragic disaster.